Hey
Hey
girl,
girl.
what you doing?
Girl, chilling. It has been a minute.
It has. I had to dust off my equipment. It's been a while.
Yeah, that's important. That's important.
Mhm.
So, hello. Hello to the audience.
Hey everyone, we're back.
Welcome back to the Nonsense
Nonsense podcast.
Podcast, where we talk about nothing but nonsense.
Nonsense.
Nothing but nonsense, period.
Always.
Um, So yeah, so Annabelle, what nonsense do we have to talk about today? I mean, it's been over a year
It
since
has
we've
been.
gotten on this podcast, so I'm sure there's a lot of nonsense to share.
I want to address the elephant in the room. Season 2 was my fault and it took a year. It's my fault that it took a year. Rachel's been on it. It was my fault. I had to air it out there or it's gonna eat at my conscience. Yes, 'twas my fault.
Okay.
There was a lot of changes. Last we spoke, we did talk about possibly finding a new job in my area. A bunch of changes coming. As you can see, I'm in a new location, so that was a change. We could talk about that later. But yes, there was been a lot of changes on Rachel's end as well. So,
Yeah,
it was a year off, but we're back and we're gonna be going at this like we did last time, even better.
that's right. Better than ever. So yeah, like Annabelle said, like last time we left off, we were both kind of in just beginning phases of like new chapters of our lives. You were just, I think, entering into a new job,
Mm. No, I
right?
wasn't even at the new job yet.
You were applying to it, or
That the this job that I'm at now wasn't even in the cards yet. It didn't even show out yet.
Ooh.
So it was more of I don't know what I want to do.
We were both there. We were both
Mhm.
like, where are we going next? And I felt that because like I had just graduated from grad school and I didn't have a job lined up. That I was home for the summer and you were talking. I'm like, people keep asking me what am I doing next? And I'm just like, I don't know. And so we were both kind of in that phase of like, well, what's next? What's next in this chapter? So it's been a year, so we've definitely gotten the answer to that question. So what's kind of changed for you in
Well,
this
the
past
big
year?
one, the big one has been my job.
Mm.
I'm in a completely different field now. Mental health's been better. Um, Obviously there's drama in the workplace per usual. Where is there not drama?
Right.
Um, but it's in a lot, I'm in a lot better of mental space in my new job than I was in my old job. I'm doing something um, still around the same. I was a sales coordinator before at a promo company, but now I'm working at an aesthetic laser company, but as kind of a tech support, which, if you know me, that is right up my alley.
That's right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And
But yeah, it's right up my alley. Closer to home. Well, my new home because I recently did just move.
that's the other change. Yeah.
The other change was that I recently just moved. I adopted a cat as my son. He's adorable. He misses his auntie Rachel. Um,
Right.
and yeah, I just been moving to about an hour away from my family, so kind of getting used to that and just getting the lay of the lands wherever I am. Still don't quite know anywhere. I know one good place, and that's about it. Everything else is 10 minutes down the road. Yeah, Rachel. I know you were doing some job changes too. Well, like you mentioned, you didn't even have a job lined up. What are you doing now?
Yeah. So yeah, where we left off, I didn't have a job, period. So I left my internship before I graduated, just feeling really, really burnt out. I'm a counselor and I was working in community mental health. And so I wasn't ready to jump right back into the workforce. And so I just took a few weeks to just kind of relax and, think about if going full time into this field was something I wanted to do. And then I started to miss it. And so I started to apply to jobs and stuff like that. And it was very uncertain for a long time, but eventually I did find a job at a private practice and I love it. Actually, today was the day, July 1st was the day that I got hired at this job. Which is so crazy. It's like we're full circle. And a lot of stuff also happened last year on July 1st because along with me not having a job, I also didn't know where I was going to live next.
Mhm.
Because I didn't have a job, it was hard to get into any apartments. So when I got this job, I also was able to get this apartment. And I also got my license on this day last year. So a lot of things happened on July 1st last year. So I'm happy we're here to talk about it. I know this is going to be getting posted after July 1st, but like, you know. So,
So
but
happy
yeah,
work
so I got
anniversary.
right, right. So I'm like, it feels very full circle, but I'm working at a private practice and I make my own schedule. I don't I get paid as much as I want to work, so there's pros and cons to that. But I'm enjoying learning about it and the experience of it and everything like that. And I'm fully in my field, and it feels very, very fulfilling. It's extremely challenging sometimes because I feel like I'm kind of on my own sometimes, but I do enjoy it. I moved, of course. I got my own apartment. This is my first place to myself, and I've enjoyed it. I've loved it. I got to enjoy it for a full year. And then the other update that happened about 2 weeks ago, I got engaged. So that
She a
that's
fiance now, everybody. She a
I'm
fiance.
I'm a fiance and I have a fiance. So my boyfriend of 3 years, he proposed, 3 weeks ago, and it's just been literally life has felt so surreal. So we're kind of working on the next steps, and so we're in couples counseling right now, and yeah, premarital counseling, and we just got approved for an apartment together, and I'm just very, very excited for this next chapter. And Annabelle, you have to come visit because the apartment's so nice.
Oh my gosh, I have to. I already
Yes.
planned on saving a whole week, or two for next
Hmm.
year. Um,
Absolutely.
I'm so ready. I have
Yes.
I have a lot of vacation time this year too, just so you know.
Yes. Period. Tell me when. I'll take the days off too. It'll be a party. Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
girl.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, we
So
were
that
planning a trip in November
mhm.
too.
Yeah, we need to get on that.
We
We
do.
need to
We
get
need
on
to get on
that.
that. That's a
Absolutely.
side note.
Yeah.
Yes.
Side note.
Side
So
note.
yeah, so honestly, things have really worked out for both of us.
Mhm.
Things have changed a lot. We're both living in different places. We're both working in different jobs, new jobs.
Mhm.
And a lot has happened in that time, but it just kind of reminds me that, sometimes when you have like that pressure saying like you should be doing something more right now, you should know what you have going on next.
Mm.
Like, I feel like that comes from sometimes we tend to put these timelines on ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
And
I,
yeah, it's crazy. It's
oh my
crazy.
gosh. I think that was one of my main stressors too. It's just like I'm very punctual. This has to be done at this time or else it's completely ruined. That is
Yeah.
the person that I am, and I've realized, and I've taken it into my current relationship, and I've observed it happening. And it took someone who has been married for so long to be like, the best thing that you can do is get rid of all timelines. It'll remove the stress. And this doesn't just happen in like marriage and stuff like that, but it's like I see it in like different one of my friends too, because a lot of people have that expectation or that mentality that you have to go straight to college after high school and then you have to go here, which is sticking to a timeline. You'll be graduated in this year after this many
Right.
years and etc. But I have a dear friend and she's working on her master's right now. She took those gaps, she took the years off, and she is literally working her butt off to get her master's. I think it's in a year or two.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see a lot of things working out for once you get rid of the timelines, and it's just you can breathe.
You can breathe, literally. You can be free, which we already are. You know, we have freedom of choice. We have freedom to do whatever we want to do when we want to do it. Sometimes it can require some extra work here and there, but ultimately, we have freedom, you know, freedom of choice, freedom to change our circumstances if we want to. But
Hmm.
I think sometimes those timelines can make it feel like we don't have it, like we don't have that freedom.
Yeah,
um you know, when we really do. So that is really our topic for today, you guys. It is, you know, are we behind in life, or is the timeline just fake?
I think
Yeah,
it's fake. I'm just
I
saying.
think so too. I feel like that's the conclusion we're coming to.
Oh yeah. Have you seen? I just found out about a new Mandela effect,
Mm.
and I think that also is like a timeline is fake type
Ooh.
thing because I always remember there was a hyphen in Kit Kat, like the chocolate. I always remember there's a hyphen between Kit and Kat.
Yeah.
It was never there. It's never flipping there. The one that I
Yeah.
found out today was, do you know the box stuffing that you see around Thanksgiving? It's in like stuffers.
Yeah.
Do- What brand is that? Do you know what brand that is?
Of the stuffing?
Yeah, the stuffing.
I don't know. What's the brand?
I think it was like Stouffer's or something like that. It was like
Stouffer.
Stouffer's.
Yeah. Stouffer's. Yeah.
Stouffer stuffing. It's not. It's Kraft. It is Kraft stuffing.
Since when?
Exactly.
That doesn't even
Exactly.
sound right. Because, like, why is Kraft making something other than cheese?
Exactly.
That doesn't even sound right. What the heck?
Apparently, it's always been Kraft.
And this is why I don't like about stuff like that. It's because, like, I swear, like, these companies, they do change stuff, but
Mm.
then they just want to gaslight us. I sound so paranoid.
They do, though.
They just don't tell us the truth. I'm like, we know the truth.
Yeah, the one that pisses me off the most is Fruit of the Loom, and it never actually
Mm,
had a loom. What are you talking about? You're Fruit of the
right.
Loom. How do you not have a loom?
Right. Because they definitely had a loom,
They
girl.
definitely
They
had a loom.
definitely had a loom.
They had a loom.
They absolutely had a loom. Yeah, that's insane. So yeah, those timelines are fake. You know,
Oh, right.
we can think something's one way or something's gonna be one way, and then we just blink, and it's like it's different. Why?
Yeah.
How?
Just like
So it's
math
like,
in high school.
because why they changed that for what? For what?
For no reason. People are, oh my gosh, there's this scene in The Incredibles 2, and he's sitting at the table trying to help Dash, or Mr. Incredible's trying to help Dash with his
Right.
homework. He's like, it's math. How do you change math? That's not, it's like, why did they change math? You're supposed to do it. He has a whole breakdown, a
Right.
reasonable crash out.
That is
Absolutely
so
reasonably crash out.
reasonable. Because that's the most dumb. Like, why are we changing math? That's the dumbest thing. Anyways,
Exactly.
so as we're talking about timelines, you know, imagine about 10 years ago. So we knew each other 10 years ago. It was
Yeah.
2015. We were entering into our junior year of high school. Where did you imagine you would be today 10 years ago? Did you have a timeline back then?
I knew I was going to be working, but I thought I would have went back to college.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I thought I would have been back in college, gotten my own place, everything. Didn't see the taxes and everything come up, but
It's
like the
expensive.
living
Yeah.
expenses, etc. Saying, but that's a different topic. Um, but yeah, I thought it was gonna be a complete different way, honestly. I but I'm not. I haven't went back to college. Um, I'm happy doing what I do. You know, met some cool people along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did you think you would be in 10 years ago?
I'm a planner. You know this about me. And I think, junior year, I was seriously thinking about college and where I was going to go and stuff like that. And so I definitely saw myself, being graduated from college or having some type of degree. I always imagined, I never thought I was going to be a counselor. I didn't realize I wanted to be a counselor until I was like in the middle of like college. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do research. I thought I would do research as a psychologist because I was like, I don't really like people like that. But then I realized, wait a minute, I do like people. I need people. Like, so I was like, okay, actually, I do want to be a counselor. So I switched that up. But 10 years ago, I think I thought I would be going into psychology and I would get my doctorate. And I hated driving. So I envisioned myself making enough money to hire a driver. Because I was like, I don't want to
Mhm.
drive a day in my life.
Valid.
um, and then I guess there was some love sprinkled in there. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess by then I should be married and I should, not have kids by 26, but be getting prepared to have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'd be in that state of life where like I'm pretty ready to have kids. And as a 26-year-old today,
Oh,
that's not happening.
my God.
That's not happening.
My gosh, my timelines for kids definitely changed from what
Yeah.
I wanted. I thought I wanted to be, well, I want to, I would like to be married by 30 and then start planning to have kids like 35. That way
Mm,
it's more of like, okay, we have 5 years to work on our marriage, iron things
yeah.
out, and
That's
then move
good.
on to, okay, now we can raise little us's. But that's, I would still like that, but I'm at that point where it's just like, I don't even know if I want to have them
Yeah.
still or if I do want them. Right now, that's up in the air, but also everybody's having babies around me and they're just so dang cute. I
That baby
can't.
fever is trying to attack us.
Yes, girl. My sister just had her baby 2 days ago
Yeah.
on the 29th. She's so
What? I
adorable.
didn't know.
Surprise, girl, surprise.
You gotta show me pictures. Oh my
She's
gosh.
absolutely, I will definitely send it to you right after this. I have so many cute little pictures.
Oh,
My sister said that her eyes are a little squinty like mine, so I was just like, oh, oh. But she looks just like her dad.
oh my
She looks
gosh.
just like my sister's husband. Honestly, I was just like, that's you. He started laughing. He's like, exactly. Oh my gosh, little Mika.
Girl. Oh, that's such a cute. Keep that baby fever away from me. Stop it,
So
girl. That's such a cute name. Oh my gosh.
that's her
I,
nickname that I chose out for her.
I
Her
love
real
that.
name, or her full name, not her real name. Her full name is Micaela. Micaela.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, little Mika.
So precious.
The
Yay.
kids love her. Um, the rest of my other nieces and nephew love her already, but she just actually went, I believe, from the hospital.
Okay. Okay. I
Fresh
got you.
baby. Fresh
Yes.
baby.
Yes. Girl. I think I used to think I would have kids at like 28.
Mm.
I think I underestimated one, how long I was going to be in school and how long it would take for me to get into my career. And also, two, how hard, I guess not hard, but the process of like, I guess getting engaged and like having a husband, it it wasn't like black and white. Like I just thought like, oop, I'll pop up in college and be just like, I'm here, and then somebody would propose to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just it wasn't quite like that because I didn't even really have time to date or like, and I was struggling with other stuff around that time, so like it wasn't even in the cards for real. And I just, yeah, I'm like, in hindsight I realized I was like 28 is wild. Like I was wanting to have kids by 28, and I was like, yeah, if I'm going to have kids by 28, I have to meet my husband 25 at the latest, hopefully 21. And this was like me 10 years ago. And I'm just
Uh,
like, that's wild. And I'm like, when was I gonna squeeze in time to be the single independent woman in the city? Like, when was I gonna squeeze it? Because I was in my 10-year plan too,
girl. Like,
girl.
honestly, after, not to go back to, like, relationship wise, you didn't miss out on dating a lot, girl. You did not. These
Mhm.
men's. These men's.
I know.
Honestly, I was gonna give up. Speaking of timelines, like, I was definitely gonna give up. I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm not there mentally. It's gonna be fine. I was like, I guess I could start dating. I was single for a year, was enjoying that, and I was just like, okay, let me see if anything changed. No. Went on some, I was like, well, I never really went on dates before. It was more of a, I already knew them, and
Mm.
then it went developed into something. But I finally went on dates, and I was just like, this is not for me. All of y'all weird. Y'all creepy. You guys are all
That's not. That's
creepy.
not. Yeah.
And then I was like, literally about to give up. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just be a fun single auntie. That's okay. I'm good. I am totally happy being the
I
fun
remember
single
you saying
auntie.
that. Yeah.
Like, you need me to pick you up from school? I am on my way. You're sick? I got you. I do not have a problem with that. And then this man stumbled upon my life, and now I'm somewhere I didn't even think was like still possible for me in a way.
Mhm.
I thought I was over it. I really thought I was over it.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that, girl. Cause I was literally, I think I was kind of on a timeline, um, and that's why like I kind of started dating a lot, and I think I was dating, like going on dates, talking to guys and stuff like that. I think I was doing that pretty consistently for about like 2 years. And then after that, I was like, it's kind of ghetto out here. And there just so happened, I was like, I think I'm done. I'm done with the apps. I'm just gonna focus on me. I'm not really gonna seek out, anybody to like talk to or date or
Mhm.
anything like that. But I was like, I'm kind of done. So I was done with the apps, but I had just so happened to be talking to a guy on the app for about a month. And he'd asked me on a date. And so I'm like, okay, before I give up, let me just go on this date. And
I
it was
guess.
it was my fiance. So yeah. But I was like before that I was like perfectly content. I wasn't saying I was giving up, but I'm like I'm going to take a nice break and I have to
Mhm.
heal cuz it was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, let me just take a step back, but it ended up being just fine. Um so I'm kind of wondering, Annabelle, we're talking about like these timelines and like these aspirations that maybe we had for our future selves like 10 years ago.
Mhm.
Where do you think like those come from? Like that pressure to like achieve things at a certain age by a certain time. Where do you feel like that comes from?
Well, it's ingrained. I personally think and have a theory that it is ingrained in us as we grow up. It
I feel
starts
that.
off with, sometimes I know some parents are like, you have to go to college. Sometimes it's like that. You have to do this, you have to do that. And they
Yeah.
have timelines for you. Like, they give you the format, and you just
Yeah.
have to follow that format. Sometimes people have it like that. I personally think that the world, specifically the United States of America, ingrains or starts training you to be in the workforce
Yeah. Yeah.
forever. I was just thinking about this today. I was just like, it is so crazy that we have to work our entire lives, or like all of our youth,
Yeah.
to just relax when we can't do much later. Anyway, but it starts out at like school, you're in school like pre-K. Okay, they
Right.
start going, you are at that building for X amount of time, X amount of days a week. Come home, do what you do. Kindergarten, they send you home with homework.
Mhm.
Okay? or elementary school, you're there longer, you're there this amount of days, you're having these things going on. High school, so you just keep going one after the other, no gaps in between besides summer breaks.
Yeah.
So that's your vacation time.
Mhm.
And then
That's
your
so
sick day.
true.
Girl,
I
that's
want
your
to go on
vacation
another
time.
break too.
I'm saying. So now it's just like, okay, cool. It's just like you can either keep going down this road of education and then they push you off a cliff while you're done. Have
Yeah.
fun. Like, good luck. Sometimes they help you find a job in the field, sometimes they don't. I know someone that they're not helping her at all. Um, or they have like some, but there's nobody actually looking for like to hire, I guess. Like they're there, but they're not actually there.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of jobs nowadays. Um, but I feel like that's the biggest starter of where it all comes from.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel that. Absolutely. I think like what you're saying, like our education system, the typical go to school at like 7 in the morning, you get out at 3 p.m., and then you have like activities, things that you do. And also like when we're like in kindergarten, second grade, like we start thinking about our careers,
Mm,
even at that point in time. And the way that careers are presented to us, it's not like, oh, you can do these many things, or you can do
mhm,
anything that is catered to you or anything. It's like you choose one thing and you do it for the rest of your life.
mhm.
And I think that, even when we go into like high school, like that's still too early to know what we want to do for the rest of our lives. Yet we're encouraged to choose a major when we apply to colleges, you know?
Yeah.
And we literally have to shape our entire lives on these decisions that we're kind of placed in a box to make, before we even really truly know like who we are. And I also think it also comes from like, I think media as well. At the same time, like I think media can be very broad depending on what side of media that you're on. People are
Yeah.
doing all sorts of different things, but at the same time, I think oftentimes people sometimes can compare themselves, to people who seem to be really happy or seem to have it all together. And they think, oh, okay, like I need to be doing that.
Mhm.
Or, oh, I'm the same age as them and they're doing this and I'm not doing that. And then they
Yeah.
feel bad about themselves. And I think sometimes that pressure can just come from like us like comparing ourselves to others,
So kind of
who
like
look,
a social pressure,
yeah,
like
who look
socially.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that, we're talking about the timelines and stuff like that. Have you ever felt behind in life, or do you currently like feel behind? I know I have.
Honestly, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it like that because I do like what I do. I just think I'm stuck. I feel stuck just because if it doesn't work out here,
Mm-hmm.
this is what's on my resume. These are the doors that are open to me. And it's such
Mm.
a limited amount of doors because a lot of places aren't looking for entry level or, it's kind of hard to navigate the job market, just like,
Yeah.
work wise. Um, just to navigate that when you have no experience in it.
Yeah.
So that, or you could always start your own business, but then I don't, I don't know. That I haven't really looked into, like starting a whole business. You have to do all of these things, all these other steps as well, like side quests in order to get to your main, to what you actually want to do. I don't
Facts.
know. But I always feel stuck. I feel stuck there. I feel stuck sometimes socially. I think I was talking to you sometime last week or the week before when I was like, oh, I gotta make friends around here. Like, I moved to a new location. I was like, I feel kind of like uh kind of behind, like, oh, everyone has all these friends around here. It's like I don't know how to just like make friends out in the real world, quote unquote, but that's hard. Like, it's just like I feel like I'm missing out. I'm getting FOMO, honestly. I think it's just FOMO, and I feel like I missed my beat for a lot of stuff too. It's just like, oh, if I went to college, I would have these friendships, and I would have went over here or looked over there, and like it's a bunch of that. I do think
Yeah.
about that a lot, but I'm also very happy at where I am. I'm extremely happy where I am. Sometimes I do feel like that, but most of the time it's more of a I take a step back and appreciate every single aspect that I do have. And that's what
Yeah.
I love to do when I come home and I see my son, and I'm just like, look at you. You need to be brushed, but I love you. Like, you're so fluffy. Or like, thank God that I have, food in the fridge, or, like we have a nice place to live. I have a roof over my head. My family's healthy. Like, it's easy to focus on the negatives of
Mm.
missing out and feeling stuck, but also it's the best way to look at the positives.
You saying that just reminded me kind of like I'm about to get a little vulnerable here. But like growing up, I was very, I had a plan for my future. I knew that I wanted my own family. I knew I wanted to get married and things like that. But at the same time, I was never, you know, I didn't date, and I wasn't approached in like that type of way, so that opportunity was never presented to me. And sometimes when I would be like around like friends like in high school, and like they would be getting approached by guys, or they would be going on
Mhm.
dates or like talking to like a bunch of different guys, I'd be just all like, on one hand I'm like, realistically, I don't I know that there's not a whole lot of value in me doing that right now, because
Mhm.
I'm planning to like move away, far away from home, and I'm like focused on like my academic goals and stuff like that, and my friendships.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I was just all like, but like also I kind of wanted to be desired at the same time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so part of me in high school, like I felt like it was an okay thing that like I wasn't dating or anything like that, because I'm just like, there's time for that, there's time for that. But then when I got to college, I kind of felt very like different. I felt really like behind in that capacity, and I felt like I had like a lot of maturing to do, like when it came to like dating and like romantic relationships,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And so one day I just was like, okay, let's just do this, let's just jump in head first. And while I like learned a lot through that, the whole reason that I kind of jumped head first like into dating, and I didn't just like, chill out and wait for like somebody to come along that like I actually liked, was
Mhm.
because like I was scared that like it was never going to happen, that I was never going to meet anybody. I was scared like I'm already too behind, in life and in this dating capacity, like it's just never going to happen. But like what you just said about, ultimately like at the end of the day, like that timeline, that we have, and like
Mhm.
that pressure that we put on ourselves, like ultimately like it's possible for you to just kind of wake up one day and be just like, I'm really happy, with my life. And like when I look back like at my younger self, like I'm very happy that I didn't get into any serious relationships when I
Mhm.
was like super young and immature, because I wouldn't have been able to handle it ending, and it would have ended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm so grateful for that. But it's like when I was like back then, when I was younger, I was just kind of like, I'm so behind. And I just didn't appreciate, the gift I
Mhm.
had and the protection, I had from all the crap that was out there.
Girl, you definitely dodged a bullet there. You dodged a
Thank
bullet. Dang. I was actually just talking to uh my boyfriend, and I we actually had a whole moment yesterday, but it took that me it this is how I know I'm maturing. Uh, But it took something, the conversation started, and then I got asked, why do you do that? And then I started reflecting, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a trauma response.
Mm.
And I started thinking about that. I was just like, whoa. And that, let's just, without getting too deep into it, it was at a time, really dark time, like in my life. And it got to the point where I was pressing these timelines, and then this person constantly showed red flags, constantly told me, forget your timeline, I don't want nothing to do with it. In a way, me just kind of going like, what? I don't know what to talk about. You didn't say anything.
Mm.
It's reflecting back on it now. You did not miss a thing, and I wish I would have kind of like waited, honestly, like, but I don't know. But also, looking back on it now, it made me, I just think about it as that stuff pushed me
Right.
to where I am now. Who
Absolutely.
knows if that, I hope that person's in a good spot now, but if that person wasn't there at that time in my life, I don't know where I would be
Mm.
or what I would be doing, but I'm happy with what I got.
I
I'm just
love
I was just thinking that I'm just so grateful. You've seen a lot of that
Yeah,
stuff,
I have.
as our friendship developed. The last person wasn't horrible, but I was just, I don't know. I feel like the most recent timeline, getting away from that topic, the most recent timeline that I find myself, always thinking about is not even marriage anymore. I kind of set that to the, okay, that's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. But it's more of how can I, like, yes, I'm happy now. I think I'm more content with where I'm at. Of course, there's always gonna be, like, I don't know how to say this. I think it's the speed of how you achieve things.
Mm.
Like, we're in a one bedroom. I would love to be in a two, but then there's also a bunch of stops that we have to do before that. But in my head, it works so fast. It's more, oh no, we should do this right now. We got to do this now. I have to do this now. And I'm catching myself speeding up, trying to speed up my timelines, trying to get to that next checkpoint when I really don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. And it takes me catching it while I'm doing it, where I
Yeah.
have to, like, okay, like, realistically, this can be done tomorrow. Realistically, that's a next year thing. And, ooh, I gotta sneeze. But I think that's the most recent thing regarding like timelines and is speed. Trying to
Yeah.
like slow
Yeah.
down, enjoy the moment. You don't have to get everything done right now. And if anybody kind of feels in the same way, you have time.
You have time.
You definitely have the time. If not, make the time to just sit back and smell the flowers. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And what you said about kind of like you you just can slow down, because one day, we think about, oh, like one day I know I'm going to be married, one day I know I'm going to have kids, one day I know I'm going to own a house, one day all these things. Like one day you're going to have all of those things. And
Hmm.
then what? Like, yeah, you can set more goals, more timelines, but you'll be in the moment then. But you'll also maybe be thinking about, oh, I miss not having all these bills or something, or I miss, being able to, my only responsibility being taking care of myself,
Hmm.
and kind of where we are right now is so important. I don't know. Do you know Tori Kelly? Who Tori
I
Kelly is?
do.
So she has this amazing song. It's like one of the first songs that she ever came out with. It's called Confetti. And she sings about how like she has dreams of like having fame and like all of the lights and everybody saying her name. Um, but at the same time, she doesn't want to wait for that day to come in order to be happy, you know?
Yeah.
Because we can say, oh, I'll be happy when this happens, or I'll be happy when that happens. But at the same time, why do we have to wait to be happy? Why can't we be happy kind of just where we are right now? Just like you said earlier, like gratitude, like appreciating having a roof over your head, appreciating being able to pay your bills,
Mhm.
appreciating having food in your fridge, appreciating having friends,
Mhm.
appreciating being loved, you know, appreciating your health. Like there's things to appreciate, and we can't just wait until everything is perfect, because there's always going to be something that we can be just all like, oh, life would be better if this would happen, you know?
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like what you just said, like, just kind of reminded me of that song. Um, you know, because one day we'll have everything that we want, and but we don't have to wait for that day to come for us to be happy and content, you know, where we're at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had a friend tell me once, and I think about this all the time, is you can have everything that you want in life, just not all at once. That
Yeah,
she
period.
tells me that all the, like, I think about that all the time, and she used
Yeah.
to tell me all the time that you can have everything in this life that you want, just not all at once. So there's a food for thought.
Yeah, it is. I love that. I love a girl, because a whole bunch of quotes just popped up in my head. We don't got time for all that. But I love this conversation. Any other things that we wanna pop in and talk about? I mean, I have one last question that maybe we can touch on. I feel like we kind
Yeah.
of answered it though. You know, how do we become happy just where we're at in life, even if we haven't achieved everything on our timeline and on our list of goals just yet, you know?
I'll be honest, on my end, um, I'm still working on that. I'm still working on that. Not to say that I'm not, but I'm definitely still working on it. It's, for me, it's that slowing down, appreciating everything, and then kind of just trying to figure out things to that make me happy instead of doom scrolling on TikTok for a couple hours. You know,
Facts.
like other things. Like I love going to the gym, so I'm gonna go like, oh, I should do that more. I like being outside. I should do that more. It's like finding times to do things that you really like to do.
Yeah.
Um, that's that's what I think would be the main thing that you're happy, feeling fulfilled, doing the things that you like to do so that you don't have any regrets later.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what I think. What do you think?
I agree with that 1,000%. I think doing things that I like to do, I'm trying to, because right now, you know, I do appreciate and enjoy my life, but sometimes I also have moments where I'm just sitting down and I'm like either bed rotting, or like this morning actually, I'm just like doom scrolling. Um, and I'm like not happy when I'm doing that. I'm like, why am I doing this? I feel so discontent, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm trying to be more creative. Um, you know, trying to, like you said, like slow down. Like, so maybe going on walks, doing things that take a little bit of time, but like are rewarding in the end. You know, like getting groceries for a meal or something like that, and
Mhm.
using my day to do that. Or like just organizing. I really actually like to organize. So
It's so fun. It is
I'm like,
so
I
fun.
actually am realizing I really enjoy organizing, which is perfect for this wedding coming up. But it's like my couples therapist, she had said something, because I mentioned that I'm like more of an organizer, and then my fiance, like his personality, that's just not really his personality. And she was like, well, that's something you really appreciate, that's like a creative outlet for you. And I was like, yeah, it is a creative outlet for me, like organizing things, making lists, making like documents,
Hmm.
putting things in their place, like that is So I'm like, I'm actually trying to like look at organizing more like that, and like cleaning and things like that, and enjoy that, and creating spaces for myself that like I really appreciate.
Hmm.
Because I feel like, when you have like little details of you kind of in your environment, it's a lot easier to appreciate where you're at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do a lot more of that. And I think also gratitude.
Mhm.
Gratitude. Every day just trying to thinking about things that I'm grateful for. Um, when I have a nice successful day at work, whether it's successful or not, I finish the day. So they'll just be happy for that. Um, and just, yeah, I think those are little ways to kind of just be happy where we're at, and also not thinking so much, just
Yes.
being present. I'm trying to think less. I tend to
Like,
overthink
it's okay to be
still.
on autopilot sometimes. As
Sometimes,
long as you're
yeah.
safe, it's 100% okay to be on autopilot sometimes.
Literally, I'm like, if I'm enjoying something, can I just enjoy it and not think about what I'm not enjoying?
Yes.
Or think about what I have to do next, or like,
Yes. Ugh,
so
yeah, I
yeah.
100% agree.
So yeah, so girl, I feel like this conversation that we're having, it's giving a new. It's giving season 2. It's
It's
giving a
very
rebirth.
much giving season two. I
Yes,
love
yes.
it.
So I mean,
Speaking of timelines, when
literally,
are
come
we
on
doing episode
now.
two? Just
Right?
kidding.
So
Episode
y'all,
two coming soon.
so coming soon, figuring that out. But we can tell you guys, tell the audience that this new season is going to be deep. We're talking about adulting because we're both 26, going on 27, approaching our 30s. We're navigating our careers, relationships, also like pop culture stuff because we like our pop culture conversations.
Hmm.
We also like to talk about like maybe talking about like controversial opinions that we have, because we have a voice, so we're going to use it and we're going to express what
Yeah.
we're feeling, what we're thinking. And of course, you know because it's just a part of life, we're going to be talking about dating and relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and of course other things that may come up along the way. So we're talking about timelines this episode. So if you have kind of any comments or thoughts on anything we've talked about today, definitely feel free. Just leave a comment. And also definitely like and follow us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in.
Thanks, guys. And we'll see you on the next episode.
On the next
Bye.
episode.